So this deck's kind of neat. This deck is the type of thing I generally wouldn't expect to see in Standard, so I'm interested to see if this feels competitive. So we've got two different angles of attack in this deck. We've got Rix Maadi Reveler and Tormenting Voice that allows us to discard Great Worm and Pelakka Wurm and all of these different things to Bond of Revival them into play very angry. But we also have Ilharg, the Raze-Boar, which can cheat them into play from our hand, which is sweet. And our deck's a ramp deck at the core too, so we can theoretically just cast these bombs in the mid to late game. Something that's really sweet about this deck too, this deck actually has turn 3 lethal, right? So let's count. So I can go turn 1 elf, turn 2 second elf or grazer, play 2-drop discard pig, turn 3 cast Bond of Revival, reanimate the pig, pig puts Great Worm into play, attack for 22. So in a magical Christmas land scenario, this deck can attack for 22 on turn 3, which is like, you know, not bad. .jpg. How do we feel about Paradise Druid versus Incubation Druid? I feel like these should probably be Incubation Druids because I have such incredibly expensive top-end threats that adapting this is probably going to be relevant in different situations. Yeah, it doesn't get bolted, but like I've got other ones that get bolted anyways, so I think I'd rather have one that can adapt. Oh, Paradise is fixing? That's fair. You only have 10 black? Alright, I'm sold. Fine. Stupid logic and numbers. Are there supposed to be hold on, one more time. Are there temples in this deck? Are there supposed to be temples in this deck? There are 0 temples and 26 lands. I'm gonna replace the Woodland Cemetery at least. If I cut basic forests, I end up being less likely to cast these on one, but I do go up black sources. I'm gonna add one more temple. I'm addicted to scrying. No, 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 no! Whew, whew. Alright, avoided catastrophe. Wrong deck. Did it. Get it, got it good. No harm, no foul. Let's update the Stream Decker with some temples. Now I could, yeah, I was just about to say, I could see a world where having this deck forcing to try and live the turn 3 dream is wrong. I could see it where we just play 4 temples and instead of Grazer, we play like Incubation Druid. So that way we have less turn 1 dorks. Blue-Black Reanimator went pretty well. We won a number of games. We had some sweet games of Magic too. As far as this stream is concerned, it was a success. Opponent, opponent, do 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 do. Do you prefer the Theros art or the new temples? I'm gonna be honest, I haven't looked at the temples that closely. They don't come in foil, so I've been trying not to hurt my eyes by looking at their ugly still artwork. Maybe once Arena gives me the option to make them pretty, I'll think about looking at them a little bit more closely. Sure. Ramp spell, things to do with ramp spell. Paper Temple's coming foil. Paper magic. I think Scapeshift and Standard is too cute, or a pipe dream. We played a Scapeshift deck Friday that felt really good. It's on the Standard decks page of my website now. Ended up getting that fleshed out a little bit last night, and I'll flesh it out more over the weekend. I can't believe Arena is so popular they made it a real card game. I know, right? Our deck's probably pretty good against a lot of Gruul decks, because generally speaking, in these kind of pseudo mirrors, you just want to be the bigger deck, and our deck has a lot of big dumb monsters. Nice, Draken. Yeah, the new set really feels like it rounded out a lot of what the Aristocrat set was missing. Grid. We're on to 7 here. Oh, I could have left it for Bond. Yeah, that's a good thought. I definitely autopiloted there. And if I'd have declined, we'd have killed him next turn, right? We'd have been like, Bond, Great Worm, kill you. Naya Feather went well. I felt like we made a couple of good tuning decisions, and the new card seemed sweet. Two of the green enchantment felt pretty good. We had a couple of games that we won. We had a couple of games where we made some pretty bad mistakes that we learned from, so. Yikes. Alright, so we're gonna lose this game because I punted. If I'd have left the pig in the bin, they'd be dead next turn. I'd be attacking for... Oh! Didn't matter. Didn't matter. What's the best stack? All of the decks that were good last season are still the best deck this season until data shows otherwise. And by data, I mean actual tournaments, not anecdotally people playing different things on their streams. I think I'm just gonna cut Grazer for Lava Coil here. I think I can afford to be a little bit slower, a little bit more interactive. My favorite deck? Probably Aristocrats. Aristocrats or Naya Feather. Those were my two favorite decks last season. They're still my favorites. Pretty good. Pretty good. So, the Golgari Sultai Explore deck has turned into a Command the Dreadhorde deck to kind of go really big up over the top. So, I think, since my hand's super aggressive, I'm actually just going to Lava Coil their elf here. Because, like, next turn I'm going to go Shockland Pig, and then we'll, like, attack for 22. Feel better, Rage. Wow! The nerve to interact with me. Who do you think you are, opponent? I'm not supposed to interact. I'm supposed to play a pig and attack.
What's that? Something smells rotten. Wait, that might be me.
They could have shock. They could have shock plus Lava Coil. They could have 2 burn spells. They could have like a burn spell plus a Domri fight.
Busting heads is my bread and butter.
Oh, you think busting heads is your job, eh? Attack me. Rats. Rats. That animation is great. Get him. Get him. That was my first time seeing that animation too. That was tasty. Just like, nope, we're done here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? How you doing? Tasty. Tasty. I'm gonna keep this. If they kill my elf, I might get into a little bit of trouble. JK, LOL, never didn't have it. Got Dubs Accelerant here. I'm honestly kind of surprised they left Thorn Lieutenant in their deck. Pelakka Wurm is in standard, you just learned. You need to watch more Day 9. He loves this card. Hey, Chad Ferg, thank you for re-upping your prime this way again. I appreciate it. Welcome back. So you're keeping me around. All right, I think I'm binning Carnage Tyrant here. And then we're binning Pelakka Wurm. Think I'm supposed to trade there. It means that they kill this, I can't Bond of Revival, but I think I'm supposed to do that. I'm not winning this race, so let's hang tight. It's actually a good draw because it lets me Wurm without shocking. I have 4 copies of Lava Coil that we sideboarded in. Yikes. All right, so we get 4 draws at Lava Coil this turn. Oh, I should have played a land, probably. Tough beat, tough beat. None of our big scaries had reach. Need more Cavalier of Thorns up in here. Up in here. Up in here. Bum 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 bum. How do you feel about the dragon that shoots 3 things when it attacks? That's probably not a terrible idea. That's castable, right? That's something out of M20. Hey, Sir Zarper. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for the brand new Prime support. Hope your Saturday is treating you well wherever you're at in the world. Yeah, it doesn't work with Pig. Smells like feather. I have 15 red sources plus Druid, so triple red's probably castable. It's not any like less castable than like Great Worm, right? Green Cavalier is a card that ramps us up into our other big top end too, which is nice. I wanted to be able to block with Grazer if it didn't have 3 power. Oh, they must have a feather in their hand, huh? And they want to be able to rebuy that later. Ooh, Pig plus Ravager Wurm is fun. Lets us kill something every turn. If they have a Reckless Rage, they can like rage this, Arcanist Flashback rage it. Yep. Yeah, we're aware, Sans Seraph. Someone said exactly that in chat and we discussed it. So much scrying. Surprised they didn't, Surprised they didn't hit this again, because it would have gone to one toughness after it got a counter. So they missed a scribe. Let's have this gobble it up. So we still would have killed it this turn either way, but they'd have gotten in an extra point of damage and gotten another scribe. If they have another rage, they get to kill my worm and attack again this turn. Oh god, are they gonna run back the same attack? I think they missed that the Legionnaire lived. Yeah, possibly. Because it had 2 toughness, right? So it looks like it's likely to die. Yep. I can't convoke the worm. Right? I'm one short on convoking the worm. So this is 4 and 4 is this. So on my next turn I could convoke the worm theoretically. But I'm just gonna play the pig next turn. Interesting. Can't say I've seen that one before. Let's smack him. That way when we attack for 22 trample next turn, they should be dead. Mana dorks do not count twice. Only one or the other. Only Wall of Roots, only if you're not on Magic Online. Ain't that the truth? Oh, it doesn't have trample. What a tilt. How does this card not have trample? The things they put trample on in this game really piss me off from a Vorthos perspective. As someone who's not big into Vorthos, this thing not trampling is an incredible letdown. We do get to see the animation again at least though. That's what I'm talking about. Every Timmy card should come with a sick animation. Timmy lives. Oh no! It just gets to block my worm, no questions asked. How is this okay? How is this okay? Cranko too strong. Please nerf. This worm tramples, right? Oh, yeah. The previously uncommon Pelakka Wurm manages to trample. What's your excuse, Great Worm? Yeah, I think Ghalta's probably better. The fact that this doesn't trample is a real letdown. This should lock it up. It's like a trampler and it gains a 7. Yeah, Ghalta costs 6 if you have pick out. Currently dying to trample, opponent. Another God's Willing here. Yup. Man, we're about to die on the backswing, aren't we? You assign damage equal to its toughness when it has protection, and the rest tramples over. Let the pig stay in the graveyard and reanimate to have 2. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I messed that up last time. I did not mess it up this time around. Fries and Lava Coil. Sign me up. I'm mad at you. You're on in the corner. Incredibly disappointed. bottom that. There's a lot of lands in our deck, and I'm going to draw 2 more cards here. Yikes. Well, the best laid plans, chat. We got, what, 3 draw steps before we need to, Yes, the latest arena update added a significant amount of client lag. It is not just you. My high-end streaming computer is also having frame rate issues on arena. In fact, I've heard people complain about performance decreases basically every arena patch. This is the first time it's patched, and I've noticed one on my system. It's very bad. Huh, maybe I should have killed this. Think we died. I think we died. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 coming across here. And shock is 9. Not drawing nothing, chat. There's no outs. We're dead. All right, run it back now, y'all. End raise, is that good enough? End raise plus pig attack for 15 together. I kind of feel like Ghalta's probably better. Feel like Ghalta's probably the dino we're looking for. So we'll go Stomping Ground on 1, so we can go Tormenting Voice tapped Overgrown Tomb on 2. Is there a standard fling effect? I mean, do we need a standard fling effect? I feel like if we have our monster in play, we should probably be winning most of the time, right? I mean, my deck doesn't have that many things. I had the temple to like look for stuff, and I hit the Lava Coil. So like, I agree that starting keep is maybe loose, but I think it's fine on the draw with a scribe. I like hit a removal spell and still just died because their hand had multiple threats. Ghalta's probably better than that. Let's trim Grazer. I'm gonna rework the Mana Dorks. Let's put a couple Incubation Druids in here, I think. I kind of feel like the reanimation part of this deck is just a little bit too cheeky. Like I almost think that we'd be better off just like being Gruul ramp. Like we just want to be like a bigger Gruul pig deck. I could see that being okay. I think we're actually casting most of our things punchworthy. We've got a bunch of 6 drops, a 7 drop, and then Ghalta is very castable. Yeah, I don't really have a cut for Cavalier. I feel like if I'm gonna fit Cavalier into this deck, I'm probably just cutting the black cards and like just turning into a Gruul pig deck. I don't know, there's a deck list on your screen. There's temples in it. I don't think that's true. I think the people that are focusing on fling effects are practicing bad deck building. Again, ask yourself the question, what problem does my deck have and how am I fixing it? And what problem does this deck have that you're fixing by adding a fling effect to it? I feel like people are focusing on the game where I got the Great Worm into play and it didn't kill them because it didn't have trample. And rather than putting fling in my deck, I'd rather just play a card that doesn't suck. Like, I'd rather just play Ghalta so I have a threat with trample instead of like playing another bad card to like try and make my bad 16/16 good. Like, the best way to make your deck bad is put a bunch of bad cards in it. So like, the higher individual card quality your average card is, the better, more cohesive your deck's gonna be on average. Yeah, we put Ghalta in. I feel like people are focusing on the Great Worm game that we lost because it didn't trample, and you're not coming to the right conclusion. I think the right conclusion there is let's play something with trample, not let's shove another bad card into our deck. Hey, Schwindy. Well, I appreciate you dropping off that Prime. Twitch Prime pays my mortgage these days, so thanks for keeping me around. I don't really think Samut is playable. I think Samut is trying to shove... Like, Samut's another card that's not good on its own. I feel like Samut is just worse than, like, having individually powerful threats. Hey, Jaminson, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I'm kind of off of this deck. We're about to get stuffed in a box here by this Abzano Catcher deck. And, let's do a wrap-up. And this is part of the problem with playing a deck like this, is I feel like the payoff that we're getting in proportion to the hoops that we're jumping through to get there just isn't really worthwhile. Lareg with these big top-end threats that we could cast seems reasonable. Like, something that I would want to try after playing this deck, and I don't know what the bottom of the curve looks like, but I feel like I would want to try, like, maxing on Pelakka Wurms. And we could play a bunch of Cavalier Thorns. Because the sweet thing, one of the things that's been a little awkward with Cavalier of Thorns in my experience is that Cavalier tends to be awkward. It tends to be awkward because you don't have anything else to ramp into once you hit your 5-drop. But if we were playing a bunch of Pelakka Wurms, that gives us something else to ramp up into at the top end. So I feel like trying something along the lines of like this, where like we have relevant things here at the top end that like work, and then like when we don't have Pig to put Pelakka into play, like playing Cavalier Thorns helps us get up to that point. Something like this perhaps. It might be wrong to go like the Marauding Raptor, Ripjaw Raptor plan. There's a lot of different ways you could fill in the bottom end of this curve with like your ramp cards of choice, but like something like this top end to go with Pig seems reasonable. How many dead to Raging Raptors cards do you think is acceptable? So I think you're asking yourself the wrong question. You don't just pick a hard number and say, I can only play 4 or 8 creatures that die to my Raptor. I think the question you want to be asking yourself is, do I have any creatures that I want to play after my Raptor that I care about dying? So like, you know, if you draw Llanowar Elves on turn 4 or 5 and it's gonna die to your 2/3 dino, that's really not a big deal because Llanowar Elves isn't really relevant anymore on turn 4 or 5 anyways. So like having like Paradise Druids and Elves along with that dino I think is fine, because generally speaking you can sequence in the early game so these come down before it, and if you draw them after it, it's just like not really a big deal.